that time of year again. General Conference was just this past weekend, and for those that don't know, it's when the general leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints get up and basically give everyone around the world counsel, and basically most of the time it's them giving talks on different subjects that are not coordinated between each other or assigned. So they kind of, in essence, pick their topic, and then usually what happens is somehow it like works out really well. But always at the start. So, and before General Conference weekend, there was a BYU football game, and I guess they won. So the onus was on them to win so that in the morning conference could happen the next day. So General Conference takes the Saturday and Sunday, and it's like 5 total sessions, so 3 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, and those sessions are 2 hours each with 2-hour breaks in between. So yeah, so conference in the morning, BYU football win. It's all super sneaky. But I like this. When I was searching around for memes, this one was the first one that kind of like popped up in my feed of stuff. I don't yet have that many people to craft memes after the weekend is over, but it'll grow. It'll grow. So, yes, Christ gives you a new heart, and you feel much more fuller and much more lively. Vaccinated people. Vaccinated people everywhere. So at the start of every session, they made sure to make sure that you knew that all the choir and participants were fully vaccinated and everything else. They were social distancing and following other safety protocols. And this was at the beginning of every session that they made sure to announce it. We get the idea. Thank you for letting us know. When Elder Holland is scheduled to speak next, a variation of this one always shows up every conference without fail. Between Elder Holland and Elder Bednar, those two are probably some of the return missionary favorites of speakers, and that's kind of where this comes from, particularly when you've got a full set of people that are memeing about it, and most of them are returned missionaries, so they're all excited for it, and they give excellent talks every time. And without a doubt, for the last little bit, I think we've only had one conference where it hasn't happened, but there has always been a new temple the whole time, and this time there was one announced in Madagascar. And so, of course, they had to meme it up and down. We like to worship. So, President Nelson is quickly becoming. So, President Hinckley was known as the temple prophet because he announced the most temples, and like that's kind of where it like shot forward for quite a bit. President Nelson is quickly getting to the point to where he is surpassing that number of announced temples, with last conference being the record one, where I think it was 20 or 30 announced in one conference. So like there was a whole list of them, and like there are a bunch still in construction that way, and a few that are being renovated as well. So there's a lot of temple projects going on, and more just keep getting announced. So Elder Dunn, one of the 70, he gave a talk about improvement. And how that 1% little bit of improvement helps over time. So me and my brother improving by 1% after watching Elder Duns talk. Now, for those of you that don't know, in the Latter-day Saint Utah culture, Napoleon Dynamite has been a fairly popular movie. I haven't heard many people talk about it recently, but I know for quite a bit it was very, very popular. And I think part of that was considering that our main man was an Eagle Scout. And it was filmed in Idaho. So basically North Utah, the state of North Utah. And then you've got Arizona, which is basically Mexican Utah, but we don't refer to them by those names. The Saints from Finland let the Russians go first. That's because they like to finish. So, one of the talks it was Elder Renlin's talk, one of our apostles, that talked about unifying together, and how when Finland got their first temple, they actually gave time for the members in Russia to actually go through first, rather than be the first one, since it was in their homeland. So they had the charity to allow people who were more disadvantaged than them go first, because they were coming from a distance and they had to go out of their way to go to the temple. And yeah, this one is another spin on the story. Me waiting to hear what changes President Nelson presumably will announce. President Nelson has been the one that has, steamrolled more changes in, the last few years than we've had in, the last, probably 3 decades. And it's just been thing after thing after thing after thing, and you're just sitting there okay, what's the next one? What? And then you go 2 or 3 conferences without having it, and it's is this one the one? Is this one the one? Is this one the one? And so you just sit there, it's okay, are there going to be crazy announcements again this time? Are they going to make another crazy change? I wonder. So, of course, a talk or two touched on adversity. And this is a common thing that you see in our church teachings, is that adversity is necessary and is also very inevitable. And you just have to go through it and deal with it. But then you always remember that because you're a child of God, you have help through it all. When you ask God if he loves you because you already know the answer, lawyer. So I can't remember who it was, but she talked about how often as a prosecutor or in law, when you are cross-examining someone, you basically ask questions that you already know the answer to. You don't ask questions that you don't know the answer to. So, in this case, you're asking God a question that you already know the answer to. Because lawyer. I think we had the first Among Us reference in our church meetings. I'm not gonna lie. I remember there was one talk where Elder Uchtdorf talked about God is among us, and he said among us multiple times, God is among us.
We would be forever changed, transformed by the profound realization that indeed God is among us.
And somebody had commented that their kids kept looking up every time after each time he said Among Us. And that's pretty sus. But I know I've seen other things where I've seen things crop up where there are these churches using Among Us memes for their presentations and whatnot. And I just like to say that I think we had the first reference, and we were the start of that, and no one else can claim that because I said so, and I think so. So fight me. Fail to pay attention to these factors, and you may end up having a pretty bad day. Me not paying attention to those factors. The machine knows. Stop yelling at me. There's no road here. When you're not paying attention to the road, this is what happens. So pay attention. So they did conference in the conference center actually, this time around after like two conferences of not having it there. And they always have such a nice display of flowers in the background. But some people can't help but see other things in the background when they're looking. And it's hope when they're hopelessly hungry, they get hopelessly distracted by the pretty flowers but I can't help but see Canadian bacon pizza. Don't watch conference while hungry. Always have munchies. The Lord brings about great things through small and simple memes. Yes. Yes, he does. Very simple memes. Top text, bottom text. Chip and Crumble, we need a new cookie flavor. Who can we ask for ideas? You can always rely on the Relief Society General Presidency to give you cool tips on cooking. So one talk touched on Jesus talking to Peter, asking me, "Lovest me thou more than these?" And this is just one important thing where you can take the thing that you love and the love of Christ and combine it into one. Lovest thou more than me? Lovest thou me more than memes? We all know the classic psalm, don't we? Consider the lilies of the field. Consider the lilies. Yes. Snape's in an interesting situation. When you thought you were done with math, but General Conference gives a math lesson. Yes, some of us were reminded of the horribleness of graphing math and where we meet others along our journeys on that graph. And so, yeah, you don't expect a math lesson in this kind of a thing, but sometimes it happens. And they were one people. This one I can appreciate because sometimes we divide ourselves into our little quadrants or little sections, and General Conference touched on more than once how even though we may have disagreements politically, we can still get along, and many people have forgotten that in amongst their political ideological divisions, that we can disagree on different things. We can agree on certain issues that are a problem, and we'll disagree on the solutions to those problems, but we can still get along, and we've forgotten that. This comes up every so often. A patriarchal blessing. If you don't have one, get one. If you remember this classic Toy Story scene, then this is one thing that's also encouraged comes up from time to time in conference, is patriarchal blessings, which is basically kind of like a blessing designed for you to help give you guidance throughout your life. So there was a little touching on marriage again, and how young single adults should seek out their eternal companion. And just sometimes some people are very unfortunate enough to run into the returned missionaries in their certain areas as they're pursuing their degree. But some people still make it work. some people don't. So, me, after pretty much every talk today, has managed to touch on something in my life. It's a very, very interesting thing when, like, every talk has had something about me. Amazing. And then finally, to finish off, Thymeme, you've been ministered unto. And I think I have ministered to each and every one of you. And let me find my thing. And so for next time, if you would like to contribute to the General Conference meme pool in 6 months, join the Discord or the other chat Guilded or the other chat places, and I will look out for those. And then, as well, if you like this kind of stuff, you've got the paid shill links down in the description. So yeah, I'll see you all later.